You're late.
Sorry.
You're late.
With Nick, a lot of it we improvise. We generally meet before a film and we speak about references and stuff. We look at films, look at photographs, designs and so on. But we don't storyboard. So I mean, when it comes to lighting, that's 100% Nick. He does all of that. I mean, I would just say a certain mood I want in terms of light or dark, but he does all that. I know nothing about lights. Composition, that's a collaboration. We do that together. Sometimes it's my composition, sometimes it's his. So a lot of it, I think we work with the production designer as well. That's very important to sort of find out. I mean, both Nick and I love smudge. We love objects in the foreground. We love to use long lenses, so that smudges things. So we always try to find glass, foliage, lamps and so on, just stuff to have in front of a lens, things we can move the camera around. So in the Duke of Burgundy we found a lot of reflective surfaces, mirrors and cabinets and so on. And really, I think, we spend some time before the actors turn up. We just look at the space, look at how it's going to work. It was something that are just spontaneous. Yeah, on the Duke, it just felt to do it, as wide a screen as possible, 2:13 ratio. That kind of it made sense. On Baron, it wasn't as wide. I think it was so claustrophobic. I mean, initially I thought it'd be great having a cinemascope. That would be amazing. But it would just feel distorted, which I wouldn't want. With Duke, it felt a bit more like we could maybe attempt to do something which was decadent in the same way as someone like Visconti. Difficult one, which is why I think the title is like a slight reference to that. Like it has this male perspective. There's some shots which are very male. I think the shot when the camera goes into Cynthia's skirt. But otherwise, we try to make it less mechanical, less objectifying, less directional. And I think, in some ways, I think it worked because a lot of men were complaining that the film was not erotic. So that's a good sign. If men are complaining about it, it means maybe we were successful to some degree. But it is strange for me because I think a lot of the films that we were referencing were made by male directors. Not really, no. I mean, the script is done when I give it to them. They obviously contribute to how it's done. I mean, the whole body language, the whole persona, that is them. That's their work. I have the words on the page, but that's just words on the page. They bring a whole inner life to that. And that's something that someone such as Cisa, you ask her to do a film because she can transform what is just dialogue into something beyond my pen, really.
I make two types of bed for what you want. One where the compartment underneath slides out and then back in, or one where the bed mattress lifts up and then can be pulled down and locked once you're inside. Once you're inside, it's the same. It's just the sensation of being put in and set free is different.
Which one would you recommend?
The bed lifting up is often more favored than the drawer-style compartment. Sometimes the drawers can get stuck. Thankfully, that usually happens when they're out rather than in. But it's a critical moment for my customers when they're about to be locked up for the night and then realize that they can't be.
It's never been a kind of, what's the word? It's never been this kind of great intention. So just to skip forward to the Duke of Burgundy, it was kind of, it had to be women because it was coming from the whole Eurosleaze genre, which it always had female lovers. So with the first film, I guess that actually came from the genre as well. It was rape revenge. So, you know, Miss 45 by Abel Ferrara, I Spit on Your Grave, Last House on the Left, Virgin Spring, you know, Bergman. So it was always the classic thing of the woman taking, you know, having this vendetta. So it was conforming to this sub-genre, really. But obviously trying to go into a different direction with that. I mean, some of it is I'm just friends with certain people. So like Fatma Mohammed, who's in all my films, well, we made 3 films, but she's in all 3 films, and I just enjoy working with her. Sometimes these things are just social. I saw Hilda Peter yesterday, who played Cotton Varga, and we just said we should do another film together. So a lot of it is just that. You just want to work with someone. There's no feminist agenda behind what I do. I mean, there's too, how do I say it? It's such an important issue that I think that's much more important than a film, I think. I'm just making entertainment, that's all I'm doing.
Sputaci dentro.
Yeah, I mean, with the Duke, that was, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed doing that as this kind of theatrical element of this sadomasochistic role play that Evelyn enjoys playing the maid, even though, with the first draft of the script, that was actually with Evelyn's house. So at the beginning, obviously, you think she's the maid being hired, and then you realise later on that actually is her house. And we decided to lose that from the actual finished film. I think the only film where what you say really is true was Bavarian Sound Studio, with the whole office hierarchy, the bullying, that very 70s macho element. Well, I wouldn't even say 70s, you still get it now. But yeah, I mean, Bavarian for me, okay, on one level it's about what we spoke about, but also it is about work and how, you know, authority is working, how hierarchy is working, all these things that kind of get in the way of work sometimes. But I don't know, maybe it's an English thing, because, you know, I think we're quite unique in the world because we have the caste system, which is like completely, it's like an autoimmune disorder that our country has, which is, it's a poison in our culture. Class envy, class denial, class aspiration, it's always there in English society, even if you don't know it. Well, in The Duke, it's the crux of the film for me is about how you negotiate desire in a relationship, compromise. You know, should Evelyn compromise and repress her desires to give Cynthia a peaceful life, or should Cynthia compromise and put on all these outfits, put on this persona which is clearly not her? She's not a dominant person. So, or should they have a timetable? And that extends beyond their activities, which I gather are quite niche. but it could be for anyone, you know.
Where are you going?
I thought I'd finished for the day.
You finish when I say.
There is nothing left to do.
Oh, there's plenty left to do. You can start by rubbing my feet.
Well, yeah, I guess that was the first alternative cinema I got into. It's strange, only reading about it. It was from reading this book by William Wees called William C. Wees, Light Moving in Time, which was about Kenneth Anger, Stan Brakhage, the Whitney brothers, Jordan Belson, Paul Sharits. And this was, I read that, when was it, 1993 or 1992? I can't remember which year now. But at that time, obviously, it was very, very difficult to see those films. So I would just kind of imagine what they were like and try to copy them with my Super 8 camera, even though I hadn't seen those films. But when I saw them, it was a complete revelation. I'm seeing Tony Conrad's short films, and it just blew my mind. And I always wondered, is there a way to give narrative cinema some kind of horsepower from avant-garde aesthetics? Or are you just showing off your taste? Is there a way to inject what you're doing with this parallel universe? If this film introduces Stan Brakhage's cinema to someone, that's a good thing, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's extremely obvious reference. I mean, it's like a fake reference, but the Stan Brakhage hated sound. He hardly used sound in his films, and I'm sure he would hate digital if he was still alive. Because that whole scene there's not a single real mock. It's all done by a company called Jellyfish in London. Completely, I think what avant-garde cinema does is close to what music does. It completely transports with film. It's about the plot, what happens in the next narrative. Well, in mainstream cinema, with avant-garde cinema, I find it very visceral. I'm not interested in what it means or any kind of symbolism. I'm sure there is, but I don't go into it for that. I go into pure punch in it. And you watch Outer Space on a big cinema screen. It alters your blood chemistry, your blood pressure. That's what I get from it. I mean, it's hard because I think I really love film music, and I get very attached when I'm writing a script. I listen to music a lot, but there's a great danger there because I become very emotionally invested in it. And then I want bands to say, "Can you copy this?" which is always fatal. So I think the job of a director and having composers is for the composers to kind of fight back and tell the director, no, you don't want to make it sound like this because it just sounds like advert music where, they couldn't afford a composer, so they get someone to sound like that composer. So it's kind of tricky. But I'm really happy with both what James Carville and Trish Keenan did for Barbarian and what Rachel Zephyr and Paris Badwan did for Duke of Burgundy.